Ladies and gentlemen, speaking to you once again from Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, the appearance of Ted Williams gives occasion to utter the thoughts of the baseball commissioner, Commissioner A.B. Chandler, who authorized us to make this statement to you baseball fans of America. He said that almost without exception, every man who was selected by you fans and by the managers is here today in uniform despite injuries or whatever the situation may be. And he wants to assure you that in the future, the Major League ball players will continue to keep faith with the baseball fans of America, and that in the future, all men who are selected will be here in uniform if it's physically possible for them to be here. Rashi worked 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, no runs. And as the score now stands, as the situation now stands, Rashi may be credited with the victory. Walt Masterson went the first 3 innings, giving up a home run to Stan Musial in the first inning with 1 on. Here's the pitch. Shane Dean swings, golfs a grounder out toward second. Bobby Dorr scoops it up, throws over to McQuinn in time, and there's 1 away as the ball almost played a dirty trick on Bobby by taking a bad hop. But Bobby watched it and played it perfectly to retire Shane Dean for the first out in the top of the 7th. And here is Stan Musial, who hit a home run in the first inning with 1 on. Richie Ashburn led off and got himself an infield hit. Musial singled in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th. Right-hander Joe Coleman comes in with an overhand curveball that zips over that inside corner for a called strike. Joe Coleman of the Philadelphia Athletics, 6'2", 193-pounder, comes in with fastball that's outside, 1-1. Coleman, a 25-year-old boy, is from Arlington, Massachusetts, and we have quite a number of New Englanders in the ball game today for both teams. Outfield around toward right. Here's your delivery. It's a curve inside, around the knees. Ball 2, 2-1. 1 out, 7th inning. Johnny Mize is on deck. Stan Musial at the plate. And Ralph Kiner is throwing out in the bullpen. He may see some action shortly. Here's your pitch. Musial takes outside. Ball 3, 3-1. Joe Coleman, you know, is the boy that was discovered by Father Gilbert, who discovered Babe Ruth. Now the pitch to Stan. Inside, ball 4. And one of the great hitters in baseball gets the base on balls here in the 7th inning. And coming to bat is Johnny Mize of the New York Giants, who's been in the ball game all the way, as has Musial. Mize has had 1 out of 3. First inning single, hit into a forced play in the 3rd inning and grounded out to second in the 5th. Coleman delivers. Pitch that's inside for ball 1. For the American League, you've got Tommy Henrik in left field, Hoot Evers in center. They've been in all the way. Al Zarilla in right, having replaced Pat Mullen. Kenny Keltner's at 3rd. He's been in there all the way. Junior Stevens at short, replaced Boudreau. Dorr at 2nd, replaced Gordon. McQuinn at 1st, in there all the way. The pitch. Mize holds up as he started to swing at a curve that came inside for ball 2. Bertie Tebbetts is back to the plate for the American League, having relieved Buddy Rozar. Joe Coleman on the hill for the American League, having replaced Vic Rashi, delivers to Mize, who takes a fastball over at the knees. Strike 1 call. 2-1 the count on Big John. Eddie Dyer, manager of the Cardinals, coaching at 3rd. Mel Ott, manager of the New York Giants, coaching at 1st. McQuinn, not holding against Musial, stepped in behind him. Coleman ready, delivers. Mize takes strike 2 called over the inside corner, ladder high. Big John steps out and looks around at Beans Reardon to question the decision. As Bertie Tebbett's throwback to Coleman got away from him, rolled out toward second, and Dorr and Stevens, alert, converged to keep the ball from going into center. No advance. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. National League fans starting that rhythmic applause, calling for a rally. Joe Coleman ready, delivers. Johnny Mize swings and grounds it foul off to the right of the plate. There's thunder in the distance, and we hope that the wind will blow the storm away. We're in the 7th inning with the score. The American League 5, the National League 2. The National League got off to a 2-0 lead in the first inning. American League got 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and 3 in the fourth to go ahead 5-2. 1 down. Musial on first. Mize the batter. The count 2-2. Coleman delivers. John swings and he misses. Strike 3 to slow curve. We've noticed that the American League pitchers have been slowing up on these sluggers in the right spot when they've had the count in the right spot. And now here is Tommy Holmes, who replaced Enos Slaughter in right field. Tommy Holmes, a Brooklyn boy playing with the Boston Braves, who at one time belonged to the New York Yankees, hitting .330 on the season, a left-hand batter. Joe Coleman, a member of those amazing Philadelphia Athletics, doing the pitching now, having just come on in this inning, throws. A pitch is swung on, topped out for the mound, taken to one hop by Coleman, throws over to McQuinn. Holmes is out, and that's all for the National League. In the top half of the seventh inning, no runs, no hits, no American League errors, one left on for the National League, a total of 9 they've stranded. And at the end of 6.5 innings, the score, American League 5, National League 2. You know, old-timers say it was next to impossible to hit a ball past Jimmy Collins, the greatest of all third basemen. Yes, and going to the impossible, you can't name another shaving instrument that compares with a modern Gillette one-piece razor. Take, for instance, the improved Gillette Super Speed razor that changes blades instantly. Twist, the razor opens. Zip, it's loaded. Twist again, and you're ready for the sweetest shave ever. Every stroke is light and gentle. There's no drag, no irritation. You skim off stubble slick as a whistle. Save time, save fuss. To clean, loosen the holder, rinse, and shake. Here's a precision instrument, not a gadget. There's nothing to fit together, nothing to jam or clog. For modern shaving comfort and convenience, get the improved Gillette Super Speed Razor with 10-blade Gillette dispenser. A big $1.50 value for only $1. Coming into the last half of the seventh inning, changes in the National League lineup. Replacing Al Schoendienst at second base is Bill Rigney of the New York Giants. Stan Musial has moved over to center field, and Ralph Kiner of the Pittsburgh Pirates has taken over in left field. So make those changes, if you will. Put Musial in Richie Ashburn's place in center, and put Ralph Kiner in left field. Tommy Henrich leading off last of the seventh. Ewell Blackwell throws a curve that's outside for ball 1. Put Bill Rigney in there at second base in place of Red Schoendienst. Right-hander Ewell Blackwell delivers. Tommy Henrich takes right in there for a call strike fastball that zipped over there about letter high. It's a 5-2 ball game, favor of the American League, last half of the seventh inning. Henrich's been in the all the way. He struck out twice, popped out to short once. Blackwell throws. Fastball is swung on, drilled foul down the left field line and out of play as it goes into the stands. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count on Tommy. Boy from Massillon, Ohio. Considered by many to be one of the most underrated baseball players in the major leagues. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Blackwell has a look over into the National League dugout. Evidently, Leo Durocher must have hollered at him to throw a certain kind of a pitch. But anyway, here it comes, and it's high. Ball 2, 2-2 the count. This is Henrich's 3rd All-Star game. He came in today's Classic with 1 out of 5. He hasn't hit today in 3 appearances. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ewell Blackwell delivers. Curveball swung on and fouled off again back at third base into the upper deck. Count holds at 2-2. We are indebted for the official scoring on doubtful plays to Mr. Ed Burns, Bob Burns, and Sid Keener of the Fourth Estate. Now the 2-2 pitch on its way. Tommy Henrich swings and fouls another one off to the left of the plate into the upper deck. As the thunder breaks loose with an ominous warning, and we hope that's all it will be, is just a warning. We'll be nice and gentle and quiet if you just let the rain hold off for a little while longer. 5-2, American League last the 7th. Again, the pitch to Henrich. Tommy takes outside, fastball, ball 3, and the string is run out to 3-2. Blackwell has won 6 and lost 5 this year. A sore arm took charge of him shortly after the season got underway, and he has not been able to establish the sensational record this year that he did last year. Now the payoff pitch to Tommy Henrich. Swung on, popped up in the air down the left field line, going foul and out of play into the lower stands as Ralph Kiner started digging over for it. Bob Elliott and Buddy Kerr both started to move, but they saw it was foul and held up. Elliott third, Kerr short, Rigney second, Mize first. Macy catching. Kiner left, Musial center. Holmes right. Blackwell pitching to Tommy Henrik, and the 3-2 delivery. Fastball is inside, ball 4, and Henrik gets a base on balls to lead off for the American League in the last half of the 7th inning. That is the 6th base on balls given up by National League pitchers today. And here is Junior Stevens coming to bat. Vern Stevens, who replaced Lou Boudreau at short. Stevens struck out in the 5th inning in his first time at bat today. Blackwell ready. Sidearm Stevens, and the pitch is outside, ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Stevens has been a great help to those Red Sox, particularly in the last couple of weeks. He's really been banging the ball. Takes the pitch inside now for ball 2. He's been challenging Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio for runs batted in honors in the American League and home run honors as well. 2 balls, no strikes to count. Outfield toward left. Stevens is a full hitter. Nobody out. Henrik on first. Johnny Mize holding against him. Blackwell taking his time, looks in and gets the sign from Phil Macy. Thundering again. Henrik leads off first. Blackwell ready. A look around. Here's your pitch. Swung on, hit into the hole between third and short out in the left field for a base hit. Kiner takes the ball on the hop, throws toward third, holding Henrik at second base. So Vern Stevens singles to left field to send Henrik down to second. And there's renewed activity now in the National League bullpen. Looks like Elmer Riddle. Elmer Riddle of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who first gained fame as a member of the Cincinnati Reds, is beginning to warm up the bullpen, and we see a flash of lightning off back of right field. And there's the thunder that follows. And here is Bobby Dorr at the plate with runners on first and second. The stretch by Blackwell. Here's the pitch. Bobby shortens up, misses an attempted bunt. A throw down to Buddy Kerr, and Henrik is safe at second base. As the tag was put on, he slid in underneath it. Bill Stewart called it. Bobby Dorr missed an attempted bunt. The runners were way off their respective bases, ready to move. Phil Macy cut loose with a beautiful throw down on the bag, which Buddy Kerr came over and took on the run, put the tag on Henrik sliding in, but Henrik beat the tag. Elliott's in close at third. Mize in close at first to look for the bunt. Elliott will try to anchor at third in the event Blackwell or Mize can handle the bunt, or Macy the catcher. Now the pitch is bunted, popped up in the air. Mize comes in fast, grabs it in the air for the out, and the runners alert, streak back to their respective bases, one away. So Bobby Dorr, attempting to sacrifice, pops out to Johnny Mize halfway between home plate and first base. And now coming to bat is Hoot Evers, who's been in there all the way. The Detroit Tiger outfielder hit a home run in the 2nd inning for the first American League run. Popped to short in the 4th and looked to the 3rd strike in the 5th inning. Bats him right-handed. 5-2 American League, last of the 7th. 1 out, runners on first and second. Ewell Blackwell delivers. Hoot Evers swings and fouls a curve off back of first base, out of play against the upper deck steel girder, sometimes known as a facade. 1 strike to count. 1 out. Evers, a right-hand hitter, the batter of the outfield toward left. Henrik is on second. Vern Stevens on first. Infield shaded around toward third with Bob Elliott laying halfway back at third and about 3-4 feet off the line. Blackwell all set. Looks back at second and then steps off the rubber, bluffs a throw, and bluffs Henrik back towards second. Nobody was over to take the throw in any event. Once again, we're ready to stretch by Blackwell. Runners dance away. Here's a crossfire that's outside. Ball 1 to Hoot Evers. 1 ball, 1 strike. A young man who came to the Tigers touted as a potential great and who was stymied for a couple of years by injuries. So far this season, he's doing nicely, thank you. Blackwell throws, curve that swung on and missed. Strike 2. I'm telling you, that sidearm stuff of Blackwell's is murder on a right-hand hitter. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Hoot Evers the batter. Tommy Henrik eases off second base. Stevens off first. Johnny Mize not holding against Stevens, of course. He's laying back deep at first, about 10 feet off the line. Blackwell again prepares to work, takes the stretch, looks back at second base. Here's the 1-2 pitch. high outside. The ball bounces out of the mid of Macy. No advance. And the count becomes 2-2. Jimmy Britt has seen Ewell Blackwell work many a ball game. He looks awful rough even from a radio broadcasting booth, doesn't he, Jim?
I wouldn't want to stand up there with a bat that short, Mel.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out. Blackwell sets once again, looks back at second. Here's his pitch. Swung on and fouled off back of first. Out of play, going into the lower stands as another clap of thunder bursts overhead. A short-sleeved crowd, and they have long since gathered their belongings, preparing to make a mad dash to the nearest shelter in the event the ominous-looking clouds overhead should let their wrath down upon those who've been kind enough to come out to see this all-star game. Ewell Blackwell throws. Pitch is swung on, foul tipped, and gets away from Phil. And the count holds at 2-2. It's a 5-2 ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Last half of the 7th inning. Favor the American League. The broadcast coming to you, the best wishes of the Gillette Safety Razor Company from Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. Ewell Blackwell, 4th pitcher used by the National League today, on the hill, pitching to Hoot Evers with Tommy Henrik, who walked on second base, and Vern Stevens, who singled on first. And there's 1 out. Now the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, foul off again to the right of the plate as Evers keeps trying to get hold of it. Ball's out of play. Phil Macy gets a new ball from plate umpire Beans Reardon, tosses out to Blackwell. Meantime, Elmer Riddle continues to work in the bullpen for the National League. Blackwell checks with Macy for the sign. Henrik's about to wear out the baseline, leading off second, and Stevens from first. Here's your pitch. Fastball swung on, hit down the right field line, and it goes foul into the National League bullpen. That's an indication in itself of how speedy Blackwell is when a pull hitter like Hoot Evers continually hits him to right field, though foul. Shows that it's tough to get around on Blackwell's fast stuff. The right-hander looks in to get that sign from Macy. Henrik again leads off second. Vern Stevens takes his lead off first. The tall right-hander that has the stretch. Here's the pitch. Swung on, foul off again, off to the right of the plate. The ball bounces back down into the stands from off the roof. And, of course, as we indicated to you earlier, Commissioner Chandler said that no matter how dark it might become, if the ball game should be tied up, we'll turn on the lights and keep going until the game reaches a conclusion. Of course, it's difficult to do very much about the rain. If the rain comes down, I'm afraid we shan't be able to help out that situation. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Runners on first and second. Ewell Blackwell ready. Here's his pitch. It's swung on by Evers, popped up into the air at about the mound, and with 1 out, we're looking for the infield fly rule to be called. It is, but Rigney comes in to make the catch at the mound, making the catch that Rabbit Marinville used to make around the midsection, letting that ball plop into his glove as he holds his glove just about belt high. But the batter was automatically out anyway, under the rule which says with runners on first and second, or first, second, and third, less than 2 out, if a ball is popped into the air, which in the judgment of the umpire can be easily handled by an infielder, the batter is automatically out. The runners move at their own risk. So, Evers pops to Rigney at the mound, and here's Kenny Keltner, who walked single to left and flied to right. 2 men down. Here's the pitch to the right-hand batter. He swings and sends a drive out to left field. Ralph Kiner backing up, getting under it, and he takes it for the out. So once again, Ewell Blackwell pitches himself out of a potential jam. No runs for the American League. 1 hit. No errors for the National League. 2 men left on for the American League. A total of 7 that they have stranded. And the score at the end of 7 innings remains the American League 5, the National League 2. And incidentally, if you are sticklers for tradition and statistics, never has a National League entry ever won an all-star game when it has been the visiting team. The official paid attendance today, 34,009. 9 folks over 34,000. with the total receipts $93,447.07. And, of course, the All-Star Game, as you know, is played for indigent ball players. That's where the money goes. For ball players who have found their luck going against them after they have retired from active play. All right, we're ready now to move into the first half of the 8th inning with the American League out in front by a 5-2 score. And here is Bob Elliott coming up for the National League. Right-hand batter. Joe Coleman of the Athletics throws fastball high inside. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. At the end of the game, Franz Locks will be on hand to give you a recapitulation of what occurred during the course of the game if you missed any of it. There's a curve that's over that outside corner for a called strike. And Elliott stepped out of the batter's box, a little bit angry about it. And Beans Reardon is looking away from him as the fans have something to say. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joe Coleman ready. The right-hander throws. Elliott swings and sends a long drive deep to right field. Alzarilla backs up near the wall and makes the catch for the out as that ball, taking off as it left the bat, looked as if it might go deeper than it did, and then sank, which cut down the distance of the drive. So Elliott lines to Alzarilla in right center. First half of the 8th inning with the score, the American League 5, the National League 2. Stan Musill's first inning homer with 1 aboard gave the National League a temporary 2-0 lead. Hoot Evers hit a home run in the second to make it 2-1. The American League got another in the third and 3 in the fourth to lead 5-2. There's a pitch swung on by Phil Macy, hit high into the air, foul down the right field line. George McQuinn giving chase to it under it, makes the catch some 45, 50 feet down the line past first base and in foul territory. 2 up and 2 away quickly for the National League in the 8th inning. And here comes Buddy Kerr of the New York Giants, a native of New York. Another in the long line of native New Yorkers who have reached Major League fame, including people like the late Lou Gehrig and Joe Judge and Hank Greenberg, who incidentally is here today. Buddy Kerr, right-hand batter, swings and fouls it off behind the plate. Strike 1. Buddy Kerr replaced Pee Wee Reese at short. Keltner third, Stevens short, Dorr second, McQuinn first. Coleman pitching. Kerr taking a curve high outside. 1-1 now the count. Coleman asks for a new ball. Bertie Tebbetts turns around and gets it from Beans Reardon. Outfield playing Buddy, step toward left. Coleman working rapidly, delivers. Pitch, it's bunted but fouled off to the left of the plate. Buddy Kerr, who's off and running, has to come back. He's trying to get on any way he could, perhaps start something. And the count is 1-2 on the National League shortstop. Now your delivery is outside, ball 2. 2-2 the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 8th inning, 5-2, American League. Coleman getting the sign from Bertie Tebbetts. Leans forward into the windup. Around comes the right arm. The pitch, curveball, just outside for ball 3. Coleman started to take that walk off the mound toward the dugout, but Beans Reardon said no, ball 3. So we have a full count on Buddy Kerr with 2 outs here in the 8th. And the payoff pitch is strike 3 called, the curveball. It got the outside corner as Buddy started to take a walk. He stops at home plate to argue with Beans Reardon, but to no avail. No runs for the National League, no hits. No errors for the American League, nobody left on for the National League. And at the end of 7.5 innings, the score, American League 5, National League 2. Fans, you'll never know what modern shaving speed and ease are like until you use the improved Gillette Super Speed Razor that changes blades instantly. This razor has a notched positioning bar for use with the Gillette Blue Blade dispenser. You just hook on a blade and it falls in place, presto. Then twist the handle and you're ready for the smoothest, most refreshing shave you ever had. Now, men, it doesn't take a locksmith to make this combination click. No, sir. There's nothing to fit together, nothing to jam or clog. Cleaning is no trick either. Simply loosen the razor, rinse, and shake. Why not enjoy this extra shaving comfort and convenience? ask for the improved Gillette Super Speed Razor with 10-blade Gillette dispenser. Get this regular $1.50 value for only $1. Ready now for the last half of the 8th inning. It'll be George McQuinn, Bertie Tebbetts. First two men up for the American League. And then Joe Coleman is scheduled to follow. Ewell Blackwell delivers to the left-hand hitter. McQuinn swings and he misses. Strike one. McQuinn's been in there all the way. He's had 2 out of 3, singling his last 2 times up. The Cincinnati right-hander throws. Fastball that backs McQuinn away. Ball 1. Now the 1-1 pitch to McQuinn. Backs him away again. This was a curveball, and the count is 2-1. High inside pitch. Outfield playing toward right and center and right, straightaway and left, the big hole in left center. Here's your pitch. McQuinn swings and sends a ground ball down the first baseline. Johnny Mize eats it up, a race to the bag. Mize wins it. McQuinn is out, and there's one away in the last half of the 8th inning for the American League. And now Bertie Tebbetts strolls to the plate. Ewell Blackwell is one of the few sidearm sinker specialists, right-handers, who is almost equally as tough on left-hand hitters as he is on the right-hand hitters. He pitches now to Bertie Tebbetts outside. Ball 1. You see, Blackwell is a very tall fellow, and he takes a step out toward that third base line. And when the ball comes in over the plate, it looks as if it's coming in from third base. Now the pitch. Just misses the outside corner for ball 2. Blackwell is a native of California. Lives in San Dimas, California right now. Was born in Fresno. The 2-0 delivery. Outside, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Three nothing to count on Bertie Tebbetts. Blackwell's father is out here today to watch his son in action. We had the pleasure of meeting him as folks stirred around about St. Louis last evening, all agog about the All-Star game. Now the pitch is over the inside corner for a call strike. Tebbetts started to take a walk, and Beans Reardon hollered out strike. Perhaps you may have heard it in the background over these microphones. And, of course, that stirred some excitement from the fans. 5-2 American League. Last half of the 8th inning, 1 out, nobody on. The 3-1 pitch to Tebbetts. Outside, ball 4, and Bertie walks. That's the 7th base on balls issued by National League pitchers today. And Blackwell walks in toward the plate to argue with Beans Reardon. Not too vehemently, but he's a little bit irked. And he starts back toward the mound and stops and turns around and hollers something else back to Beans. To all intents and purposes, he's merely saying, as Jim Britt and I often hear the ball players talk, he's merely asking Beansy to give him a break on the corners. All right, here's Joe Coleman up there to hit for himself, right-hander. Bertie Tebbetts on first, 1 out, last the 8th inning, 5-2 American League. Ewell Blackwell ready to work the stretch. Here's the pitch. Coleman bunts and fouls it off to the right of the plate. Strike 1. It was quite a nice gesture on the part of the baseball commissioner to allow Bert Schotten to throw out the first ball today. Bert Schotten, who directed the Brooklyn Dodgers to the 1947 National League pennant. Everybody seemed very pleased with it. Now the pitch to Coleman. He takes a fastball low. Ball 1, 1-1. Bert Schotten was a guest of the National League at the game today. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Tebbetts leads off first. Blackwell pitching to Coleman. Here it is. Coleman bunts and pops it in the air, but Blackwell can't get it. Gets by him, but Myers is backing up, picks it up, throws to Rigney, covering first in time for the out on Coleman. It was a little low pop, about 3 feet off the ground. Blackwell dashed in, reached down for it, but the ball hit in front of his glove, bounded by him, but Mize backed him up near the mound and tossed over to Rigney, covering first for the out on Coleman. It's a sacrifice. Moving Tebbetts down to second, And with 2 down, here is Al Zarilla, left-hand batter, having a great year with the St. Louis Browns. Blackwell ready to work. Here's his pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 1. A sweeping curveball that had Zarilla fooled all the way. The National League started Branca, came on with Schmitz, who fared worst of all today. Schmitz was relieved by Sane, and Blackwell in turn took over for Sane. Now the pitch. Swung on, hit up into the air, out into center field. Going back for it is Stan Musial. He's under it, makes the catch in deep center for the 3rd out of the inning. No runs for the American League. No hits. No National League errors. 1 left on for the Americans. A total of 8 that they've stranded. The National League has stranded 9 men during the course of the ball game. And we're all set to move into the top half of the 9th inning with the American League leading 5-2. As we indicated to you, ladies and gentlemen, Franz Laux will be on at the conclusion of this game to give you a recapitulation on how the runs were scored, so we shan't bother you with those details at the present time. They'll be given to you very shortly. At the moment, we pause for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System. Going into the top half of the 9th inning, the National League trailing by 3 runs. It's 5-2 American League. And we're going to have a pinch hitter for Ewell Blackwell. Bobby Thompson, as we check, of the New York Giants, is going to come up to bat for Blackwell. He will be followed by Ralph Kiner. And then Bill Rigney is scheduled to follow. So the National League comes up in the 9th inning, trailing 5-2. Bobby Thompson making his first appearance in an all-star ball game. Right-hand batter, Joe Coleman, into the wind-up throws. Thompson takes a curve outside for ball 1. Bobby's one of the few Major League ball players that was born in a foreign country. He swings and fouls it off onto the screen. Strike 1. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland, but now resides in Staten Island, New York. Of course, he came over here when he was quite young and learned the American game and learned it well. The right-hand hitter swings and fouls it off. Strike 2. Phil Marshallton of the Athletics is a Canadian, to give you another example. Here's the pitch over the head of Bobby Thompson, ball 2. Elmer Vallo of the Philadelphia A's was born in Rybnik, Czechoslovakia, to add another as we quickly search our memory. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count on Bobby Thompson, pinch hitting for Ewell Blackwell, 9th inning, 5-2 American League. And here comes the rain, and the folks are scattering out of the boxes. Coleman delivers. Swung on and missed by Bobby Thompson, strike 3, and there's 1 out in the 9th inning. Coming to bat is Ralph Kiner. And the rain, kind enough to hold off till the 9th inning here with 1 out, begins to come down at Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. And Ralph Kiner steps to the plate for the first time in the ball game. Joe Coleman's into the windup. Here's the pitch. Kiner swings and sends a ground ball wide of third. Keltner in front of Stevens, up with it over to McQuinn in time for out number 2. So they're 2 away from the National League in the 9th inning. And here's Bill Rigney of the New York Giants coming to bat with a score of 5-2 in favor of the American League. And the rain is beginning to come down, and perhaps our prayerful remarks over the past few innings, asking the rain to stay away, were heeded, at least up until this point, with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning, with Joe Coleman into the windup, pitching to the right-hand batter, and it's high inside for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. 5-2 American League, 9th inning. Joe Coleman delivers. pitch is low. Ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes, and the rain is really beginning to pour down hard. And the umpires are hopeful, to a degree, that the game will be able to be concluded in its entirety before the rains pour down too hard. There are 2 outs here in the 9th inning. 2 balls, no strikes on Rigney. The rain pouring, and the pitch is inside for ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. And ladies and gentlemen, with everybody scattering out of the field boxes, remaining and taking his soaking is Commissioner Chandler. The pitch is high, ball 4, Rigney walks. Commissioner Chandler refuses to budge out of his seat, along with his 2 boys, Ben and Sam, and he's sitting right out there in it. His sentiments being, I'm the commissioner of baseball. Baseball is my game, and I'm going to stick with it, rain or no rain. Here is Stan Musial. Bats him left-handed. And the pitch. Musial takes in there for a call strike. Rigney got a base on balls. 2 outs, 9th inning. 5-2, favor the American League. The stretch by Coleman, pitching to Musial. The left-hand batter takes outside now for ball 1, 1-1. Stan hit a home run in the 1st inning, single to center in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th, and walked in the 7th. Coleman all set again. Checks his runner. Here's the pitch. Musial swings and sends a ground ball out to Bobby Doerr. Up with it. There's the throw over to George McQuinn in time for the out, and the ball game is over. And the American League defeats the National League by a score of 5-2 to become victorious for the 11th time in 15 games. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this 15th annual All-Star Classic, brought to you with the best wishes and compliments of the Gillette Safety Razor Company in another of its cavalcade of sports. We hope that you enjoyed the play-by-play description of this game, and it was a real pleasure to once again have been associated with Jim Britt, who brought you the first 4.5 innings, and Franz Laux, who will give you the summary. And this is Mel Allen thanking you very much for tuning us in this afternoon, and we hope to see you again soon. And now, here is Franz Laux.
Thank you very much, Mel. And first, I want to compliment you and Jim Britt on doing a splendid job here this afternoon and giving the fans a play-by-play description of this game. A little rundown on actually what happened and how it happened. The totals on the game for the National League show 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors. For the American League, 5 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. The National being 2 up on hits, but they were a little bit down on runs. They started off by registering 2 runs in the very first inning. The National League, incidentally, had a total of 10 men left on base, while the American League had a total of 8 men. Johnny Schmitz, who was in there for the Chicago Cubs, was charged with a loss this afternoon, and Vic Raschi, who went in to relieve Masterson after Masterson went out of the ball game, was the winning pitcher. And incidentally, that makes the 6th time that a New York Yankee pitcher has been the winning pitcher in the All-Star Classic. Last year, it was Shea of the New York Yankees. And then in 1942, it was Spud Chandler. And Gomez had 3 of them to his credit in 1933, again in 1935, and in 1937. So the Yankees really have a monopoly on the winning pitchers in the All-Star game. The game started off in the first inning with Masterson on the mound for the Washington Senators, and it looked like the National League was really going to go to town. When Richie Ashburn smashed one down through the box, Joe Gordon made a great stop over back of second base, but his throw was a little bit high, and it was an infield hit for Ashburn. And then Shane Deese, while Shane Deese was batting, Ashburn moved down to second base, getting credit for a stolen base. And then Shane Deese grounded out unassisted, with Ashburn moving over to third, and then Stan Musial stepped up to the plate, and after having the count 2 strikes and 1 ball, he hit one on top of the right center field pavilion for a home run to put the National League out in the lead. And that's the only runs that they scored for the day. Johnny Mize followed up with a single, and then Enos Slaughter walked, but they couldn't produce any more hits there in the first inning to get any more runs. The American League came up with their first run in the second inning after 1 away, when Hoot Eber sent a line drive into the left field seats. The American Leaguers came back to tie the ball game in the last half of the third without the assistance of a hit. 2 walks and a double steal resulted in the damage there in that inning. Vic Raschi, who happened to be the first batter up, walked. And then Pat Mullen also walked on 4 straight pitches. Then Hendricks struck out, was called out on strikes. And while he was batting, they worked the double steal on the 3rd strike with Rashi moving over to 3rd and Mullen down to 2nd base. And then Lou Boudreau sent a fly ball out to Slaughter in right field, and the runner scored with the run that tied up the ball game. Then their final 3 runs came in the 4th inning after 1 away on a neat play by Pee Wee Reese, who took care of a fly ball by Hoot Evers. It looked like it was going to fall in there for a Texas leaguer. And then 2 singles, a walk, and another single. And that single, incidentally, was by the pitcher Rashi. Drove in 2 of the runs. Another one scored on an outfield fly. And that produced the margin of the scoring for the afternoon. For the rest of the way out in the ball game, it was an even struggle, you might say. Although Blackwell, the whip who was on there, was in a jam a couple times, he still managed to come out without any damage. So this is a 15th annual All-Star Classic. The American League has now won 11. The National League 4 of these games. So, fans, the story of another great All-Star game goes into the record book. But Gillette's cavalcade of sports carries on. Thursday night, Gillette presents a special sports program with guest boxing experts from cities around the Fistic Circuit. Plan to be at your radio and enjoy the fun. Consult your newspaper for local time and station. This is Franz Locks with Mel Allen and Jim Britt saying smooth sailing, smooth shaving, and good afternoon for your radio host, the Gillette Safety Razor Company. This broadcast came to you from Sportsman's Park in St. Louis.
Checkerboard Jamboree, sponsored by the Ralston Purina Company, was canceled today only because of the broadcast just concluded. Stay tuned now for Queen for a Day, which follows over most of these stations in just a moment. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.